Imagine standing at the edge of the world where temperatures plummet to -50 degrees Celsius and winds scream at over 100 kilometers per hour. The sun disappears for months. The cold is not merely uncomfortable, it is a living adversary. Yet for nearly 1,000 years, the Thule people didn't merely survive in this hellscape. They thrived, they built homes, they created communities, and they did it using architectural principles so sophisticated that, honestly, modern engineers are only now beginning to understand the genius embedded in their designs. This is the story of invisible architects whose monuments stand not in stone cathedrals, but in the earth and ice beneath our feet. These are the echoes of Thule, a civilization that mastered the impossible and left behind a blueprint for resilience our world desperately needs to rediscover. The first remarkable feature of Thule architecture was its profound simplicity, masking extraordinary complexity. Rather than building upward against the Arctic's fury, the Thule people built downward. They understood what modern science would take decades to prove. The Earth itself is a guardian against cold. When you descend even just a few meters below the surface, you escape the wind's teeth. Temperature stabilizes. Geothermal warmth radiates from below, a constant heat source that never wavers. The Thule built semi-subterranean dwellings called karmat that represented not primitive necessity, but, well, sophisticated environmental engineering. From the surface, you might barely notice these homes. A slight depression, perhaps a whalebone rib protruding from frozen ground. But descend into that entrance, a deliberately low, narrow tunnel forcing you to crouch, and you entered calculated warmth. This tunnel served as a thermal trap, capturing escaping heat like an invisible shield. Cold air pools in that passage, while precious warmth radiates from the main chamber. Inside, massive whalebone ribs arched overhead, forming the dwelling's skeleton. Stone walls provided structural integrity and thermal mass. Over this framework, the Thule layered skins, furs, and sod, creating an envelope that functioned as a living organism, breathing in warmth and expelling cold. Every choice was purposeful. Sleeping platforms were elevated above the living floor, positioned where rising heat accumulated. Storage areas kept food at precisely the right temperature for preservation. Communal spaces maximized collective body heat through long Arctic nights. What distinguishes Thule architecture is evidence of continuous refinement. Archaeological excavations reveal subtle variations in construction techniques across centuries and regions. They weren't repeating ancient blueprints. They were observing, learning, and optimizing. If Earth was the Thule's foundation, snow was their secret weapon. In a landscape where snow seemed like an impediment, the Thule recognized a crucial truth. Snow is an extraordinary insulator. It is mostly air, and when deliberately compacted and packed around dwellings, it becomes a thermal barrier rivaling modern foam and fiberglass. The Thule didn't allow snow to accumulate naturally. They engineered it. They packed snow specifically around exterior walls, creating layers of additional insulation that formed a microclimate within a microclimate. Snow combined with blubber and hide created multiple defensive layers. Thule brilliance extended beyond individual homes into entire settlement organization. Dwellings clustered together, sometimes connected by covered tunnels, allowing movement without exposure to elements. This clustering created a collective thermal zone, where multiple homes combined heat elevated ambient temperature, while snow drifts accumulated differently, creating windbreaks and shelter. As we face accelerating climate change and, increasing environmental unpredictability, the wisdom embedded in Thule architecture grows, increasingly relevant. Modern sustainable design often celebrates cutting-edge technology, smart systems, advanced materials, and complex engineering. Yet the Thule achieved something perhaps more profound, enduring resilience through simplicity and deep environmental understanding. The unseen principles embedded in their design, that Earth stabilizes temperature, that snow insulates, that community amplifies survival capacity, represent a fundamentally different approach to human habitation. These buildings weren't designed to impress. They were designed to endure, to sustain life through extremity, to create not comfort in the modern sense, but something deeper: safety, belonging, and confidence that tomorrow will come. The Thule people have largely been forgotten by history. Their names are lost, their voices echo only in archaeological records, but their homes remain, silent testimonies to human ingenuity facing honestly impossible odds. As we contemplate our future on a rapidly changing planet, these echoes from the Arctic deserve our attention. They remind us that resilience is not new, it is ancient, and its lessons are waiting for those wise enough to listen. The story of Thule civilization doesn't end in the Arctic's frozen past. It lives on in every question we ask about how to truly survive, how to build sustainably, and how to create enduring communities. Subscribe to The Lost Tactician to explore more stories where history teaches the art of survival and adaptation. Like this video, share it with those who hunger for insights into human endurance. We'll see you in the next expedition into the past.